All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'm going to be speaking to Shannon Clark, who's going to be on the Contender series very, very soon. Thanks for coming on, Shannon. How are you feeling?
Oh, good. I'm very excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I like to start from the bottom up, like I mentioned to you. Can you tell us how you got into mixed martial arts? Did you do something before, like striking, anything like that?
I actually started with soccer. My background is soccer. I played university soccer, and I met a guy that was a fighter, and he kind of just brought me into the gym the one day and was like, "Hey, for your cardio off season kind of thing, do kickboxing." So I did a kickboxing class, loved it, and that was actually the first time I ever even hit a pad, hit a bag, anything. And then I kind of just started doing the classes more and more. And then after I was done my university career, I picked up more classes and just kind of fell in love with the sport a bit. And then my competitive side was like, well, if I train all this, maybe I should put a little more into actual training and see if I can fight. And that's how it started.
Nice. How'd you decide to take your first amateur fight?
I don't even remember. I think it was a couple people didn't think that I was really capable of fighting. So it was more just like I wanted to prove them wrong. It ended up being in the fall. So then I made like a resolution kind of thing. It was like, hey, starting January, my coach at the time was like, no, you can, if you put 5 or 6 months in for an amateur fight, you should be okay because you've at least like established what a strike was, right? Like a hook or a jab or something. And so I dedicated that, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do one fight. It took several months of convincing my family that I was going to do that. They didn't believe me because I've always been the little girl that just plays soccer and never punched, never been in a bar fight, nothing. And then, yeah, kind of just happened with my first amateur, and here we are.
Nice. Are you training full time now?
Yes. Yeah, I train almost every day still as well. Like I work, but I also train. So it's a hard balance.
Gotcha. How do you balance everything? And I think you have kids too, right?
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. And then I work full time. It's a lot of scheduling. It's a very, very busy scheduled life. I just make it work. I don't know how else to describe it.
That makes sense. So I did want to ask you, you have 5 wins now, 5 pro wins, undefeated, and 3 of them are knockouts, which is pretty rare for your division. And they're good knockouts. Is power something you train, or is it just something you already had naturally?
I don't know, actually. I think I have it. I don't really know. I think I'm just an angry person. So I think it just comes out, honestly. I mean, I'm sure I'm supposed to say I train things, but I don't really know. I just go in there and it just happens. I'm sure my coach is going to watch this and be like, listen, Shannon, you train this way. But between you and I don't know. I think I have it. I don't know.
That makes sense. So going into your last fight, which was awesome, and I'm hyped to talk about it. Did you train any grappling? Because I mean, you were fighting a undefeated black belt in jiu-jitsu. So was that like something you focused on going into camp?
I guess you could say we focus a little bit more on that. I mean, we've always trained certain stuff. And I'm so bad at memory. I believe we trained harder for the ground, but it was more just like getting me comfortable of like my game of what I like. So it was more perfecting what I prefer to do. Not necessarily like the defense. Like every fight camp, we've done more and more of certain things. This last one, it was we expected her to do ground. So obviously, so we did more like takedowns and then what do we want to do on the ground? Like the last fight, I was very active on the ground. So our thing was, if we expect her to be on the ground, I'm not going to sit still. I need to at least be active while on the ground. That's kind of what we were practicing a bit more. Not necessarily the jiu-jitsu side. It was more how to stay active from every angle possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you didn't. Did you train that bulldog choke you ended up hitting? Is that something you did before?
Yeah, I actually have. despite my interview after my fight, saying I didn't know I could do that, I did meant to say I didn't know I would be able to do that in a fight because you do it in training. But I'm not the best at interviews. And no, I repped that out because I think I'd get in that position. Obviously, I didn't know that was a choke. And then my coach was just like, hey, like, you do this, you do that. And then, but in training, we've never actually gotten on the feet. Like, you would stay on your knees and obviously people would tap. So in the fight, I did it. And then I was like, well, it's not fucking working. Why is she not tapping? I was very confused, but I've gotten it several times on the guys in training. So yes, that is something I've done. Lots.
Okay, that makes sense. Did you feel her go out like when she went out from the choke?
No, I didn't actually know she even went out until I think I was jumping up and down. I looked at her and she was out, or she was still laying down. I was like, holy crap, is she okay? Like, I had no idea any of that. I had no clue. I've never felt that in my hands before, obviously, so I would never, yeah. I just was very confused on why she wasn't why she wasn't tapping, and then I was like, I swear this is locked in. I have no idea what's going on.
It was definitely locked in. Now, going into that fight, did you know that you were maybe 1 win or 2 wins away from a Dana White's Contender Series call up?
I was told, but I don't know. I've been, I don't know how to put this nicely, but like, I've been either lied to or overlooked in this sport sometimes. So honestly, I just don't believe anything until it's right in front of me. Yeah, so I didn't really expect to have this after that fight. Like, I really didn't. I was shocked. And it's funny because my coach would be like, we've told you. And it's like, yeah, well. And then I actually didn't even believe it until literally the contract was finally there in front of me. I was like, oh, that's just a rumor. It's not true. And actually, still to this day, I'm like, this is fake. And when we get there, they're going to be like, who are you? Why are you here?
You know, that's really funny that you said that, because I spoke to someone else who's going to be on this season, Michael Aswell, and he told me the same thing. He's like, I didn't believe, even after they told me, I didn't believe them until they gave me the contract, and then I believed them.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so where were you when you got the call for it?
At work.
Work?
Yeah, my manager called me, and what did he three-wayed my coach and I and him, and he was just like, so we have some bad news. And I was like, oh, okay, like, what are we gonna hear now? And then he's like, you're on the Contender Series, like, kind of was joking. I was like, you can't do that to me. Like, I can't believe what you say. So I was like, oh. But no, I was trying to be professional, because where I'm at, you can't really jump up and down and scream, but I might have done that a little bit.
I would have too, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your opponent? Not positive how to pronounce her name. Unessi Dubin, I believe. Have you looked into her? Do you normally take your opponents?
I do. I look them up when I first hear the name, because obviously I want to know like what their style is or like their record or something. But I'm not really allowed to look too much into them. It's more my coach will look into them or find or do whatever. I don't do a whole lot of that. I do know that I know she's undefeated, but I think she's never been to decision. I could be wrong on that. Okay, sure. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. I think she's gonna be a big stand-up. I could be completely wrong, and I mean, we're preparing this one for everything, but I predict her to be, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think we're both going to be swinging pretty good. So we'll see. I don't know for sure. Like, we haven't set my game plan. We're not quite in fight camp yet. So we'll see like what we're going to do in the next coming weeks here. But from her, just from how her finishes are, at least, I would expect her to want to punch me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, last question for me. If everything works out, you come out there, you're going to get your knockout, you get the contract. Do you have any like ideal opponent of who you'd want to fight for your UFC debut?
No, I'm so bad at this. I don't really know a whole lot of people in the UFC. I'm just starting to watch, so I'm just starting to learn people. I mean, my coach has spoken about people, so if I might recognize names, but like to actually know people's names, like I know like the old crew, which would be like what, like Holly Holmes when she beat Ronda Rousey, or Khabib. Like I know Conor McGregor. Like those are the names I know. I don't know a whole lot of this. So like these people that were just fighting this past weekend, there was 2 guys. My coach was like blah 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 and blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, I've heard these names. And then he'd explain the story, and I'm like, that's right. So I couldn't tell you what they look like. So I'm just starting to learn this sport, like the actual people in the UFC. So as of right now, anyone, I wouldn't know what to say for that. Sorry.
No, it's a good answer. Anyone, any place, anytime.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But all right, Shannon, thank you. That's all I got. Good luck with camp. Good luck with the fight. And before we hop out, if you want to plug anything, your socials, shout out anyone, it's your time.
Just thank you to everyone that has gotten me to this point. I would not be here without any of my training partners, my coach, my family. Thank you to everyone, and hopefully it's a good fight.
I think it will be. All right. Thanks, Shannon. Have a good one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.